Protected from deportation and new citizenship rules, full breakdown. In today's report, we examine two issues shaping immigrant lives in 2025. First, which groups are legally protected from deportation. Second, how new citizenship rules are redefining the requirement of good moral character. These topics affect millions of immigrants. Some hold strong protections that shield them from removal. Others face higher scrutiny as they pursue naturalization. Let's carefully break down the facts and realities. The complexity of deportation protections. Immigration law is one of the most complex legal systems in the United States. Many immigrants live with constant uncertainty about whether they could be removed. The truth is, not everyone is equally vulnerable. Certain groups have strong safeguards against deportation. Others remain at risk depending on their entry, immigration status, or conduct. Knowing who is protected, and under what circumstances, is vital. These protections can determine whether a family remains together or faces separation through removal proceedings. Citizens, the most secure group. Citizens, whether born in the United States or naturalized, enjoy the strongest legal protections. Deportation is nearly impossible once citizenship is established. The only exceptions involve rare cases of fraud during the naturalization process or involvement in severe crimes such as terrorism or genocide. Even then, denaturalization is extremely uncommon. For the overwhelming majority of U.S. citizens, deportation is not a concern. This certainty is the reason many immigrants ultimately pursue naturalization as the final safeguard. Permanent residence, protection with conditions. Legal permanent residents, known as green card holders, also enjoy strong protection against removal. As long as they follow the law, they cannot be deported. However, their protection is conditional. Serious criminal convictions, immigration fraud, or long absences from the United States can still place their green card at risk. Even minor issues, such as failure to update address information or mistakes in renewing documents, may draw attention. While these do not always cause removal, they can complicate future applications. Conditional residents, such as those who gain status through marriage, must also prove that their marriage is genuine. Failure to meet this requirement can jeopardize protection. It is also important to remember that green card holders who spend too much time outside the United States may be accused of abandoning residence. Customs and Border Protection officers have authority to question long absences and, in some cases, place permanent residents in removal proceedings. Humanitarian categories, temporary but vital. Several humanitarian categories provide protection from deportation. Temporary protected status, asylum, refugee status, and humanitarian parole are all critical lifelines. TPS beneficiaries remain shielded as long as their country's designation continues. Missing renewal deadlines or committing crimes can still trigger removal proceedings. Asylees and refugees hold legal protection because they fled persecution in their home countries. Their protection is strong, but it can be lost through violations of U.S. law. Humanitarian parole provides temporary safety in urgent situations such as medical emergencies or sudden crises. However, its protection ends when parole expires unless another status is secured. Other protected groups. Other categories also benefit from deportation shields. Recipients of deferred action for childhood arrivals remain protected while the program continues, though its future depends heavily on court rulings and politics. Victims of serious crime or human trafficking who assist law enforcement may qualify for U or T visas. These visas offer protection recognizing both vulnerability and cooperation. Some individuals are also protected by formal court orders preventing removal. These orders remain valid until modified or overturned in further proceedings. Unaccompanied minors in immigration proceedings receive temporary protection. The government does not remove them until their cases are fully heard in immigration court. Finally, immediate relatives of U.S. citizens benefit from special forgiveness under the law. Even with overstays or unauthorized work, they can still adjust status if they entered legally. Who is not protected? It is equally important to recognize who remains unprotected. Individuals who entered the United States without inspection are the most vulnerable. Crossing the border unlawfully removes eligibility for many forms of relief. Without a legal entry record, access to forgiveness provisions is often blocked. For these individuals, deportation remains a constant risk. Their future often depends on securing new legal pathways or awaiting legislative reforms. Citizenship and the good moral character standard. While deportation protections matter for many, naturalization is the ultimate goal for countless immigrants. Yet citizenship applications are facing higher scrutiny under new standards. USCIS has re-emphasized the requirement of good moral character. This is not a new condition, but recent policy shifts have made it stricter and more comprehensive. Applicants must now show more than an absence of criminal activity. They must affirmatively prove responsibility, contribution, and positive character over the required period. Holistic review of applicants. USCIS officers are instructed to use a holistic approach. They must examine not only negative conduct but also the positive contributions of each applicant. It is no longer sufficient to simply avoid wrongdoing. Applicants must show they have actively contributed to their families, communities, and the broader American society. This policy shift means that evidence of good deeds, community ties, and responsibility carries greater weight in the decision-making process. The reasoning behind this change is clear. The administration seeks to ensure that new citizens not only comply with the law but also enrich the nation through active participation. Positive attributes considered. Applicants are now encouraged to highlight positive attributes. Long periods of lawful residence are a strong indicator of stability and reliability. Stable employment demonstrates financial responsibility and a commitment to supporting oneself without burdening public resources. Officers will weigh this heavily in evaluations. Educational achievements show a dedication to personal growth and skill development. These factors can demonstrate that an applicant is striving to improve their life in America. Family caregiving responsibilities, such as raising children or supporting elderly relatives, are viewed as clear examples of moral responsibility. Officers are instructed to account for these contributions. Active participation in community activities, volunteering, or religious involvement can also strengthen an applicant's profile. These actions reflect integration and service. Finally, compliance with U.S. tax obligations demonstrates civic duty. Paying taxes consistently is considered a major factor in showing good moral character. Rehabilitation and second chances. Importantly, the new guidance also considers rehabilitation. Past wrongdoing is not always an automatic denial if the applicant can prove reform. Evidence such as repayment of taxes, compliance with court orders, or letters from respected community members can demonstrate that an individual has turned their life around. This creates hope for applicants who previously feared rejection due to mistakes. USCIS now recognizes that genuine reform can support a positive outcome. The message is clear: the immigration system demands accountability but also recognizes personal growth and second chances. Applicants who can show evidence of meaningful change may still succeed. Citizenship trends and numbers. Despite tougher standards, naturalization remains highly sought after. In fiscal year 2024, more than 818,000 immigrants became U.S. citizens. Mexican nationals led the numbers, followed by Indian, Filipino, and Chinese immigrants. Each group represents significant demand for permanent integration into American life. These figures show that immigrants remain determined to secure citizenship even as requirements grow more demanding. Preparation and strong evidence are more important than ever. The higher standards may slow down approval rates for some, but for those prepared with strong cases, opportunities remain open. Careful documentation is now essential. Practical guidance for immigrants. For immigrants pursuing naturalization, preparation is critical. Applications should include not only legal documents but also evidence of positive contributions. Letters from employers, teachers, or community leaders can help demonstrate character. Proof of tax compliance and consistent work history strengthens the case. Applicants should also address past mistakes honestly. Attempting to hide information is far riskier than presenting proof of rehabilitation and reform. For those facing deportation fears, understanding protection categories is equally important. Some may qualify for relief they did not know existed. Consulting legal counsel can help identify options. Key takeaway: deportation protections are uneven. Citizens and permanent residents hold the strongest safeguards. Humanitarian categories offer temporary relief. Other groups remain exposed to risk. At the same time, naturalization has become harder to achieve. The good moral character standard now requires applicants to show positive contributions, not simply the absence of crime. Immigrants seeking security in the United States must carefully understand these rules, prepare thoroughly, and present the strongest possible evidence of their eligibility. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon for future updates. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.